This is fine. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay. That's fine. Oh, I forgot that corner. God damn it. Oh, shit. Another mistake. Why did I put this? It's fine. Everything's fine. Beep, beep. I don't know why I did that. Oh, shit.
Stone stuff around this.
Shit. Do I use white ink too much? Yeah. Mind your fucking business. Hello, I'm PB Raisinbread, and I draw and make comics and stuff. And someone asked me in the comments of one of my last videos how I keep my hand so steady when I do line art and inking. And my reply was, okay, I mentioned how I take breaks, I do stretches and exercises, not as much as I should, I'll be honest, and I mentioned it because I don't hear a lot of people talk about it much.
One eternity later.
And I don't really feel qualified to answer this question because I don't really keep my hand steady. I mean, I do, but like not really. And a lot of people answer this question with practice, 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 which is true. And I'm not a professional artist, I'm not a teacher, and I'm not at a level of art where I could be considered, I don't know, aspirational to anybody. And okay, well, I guess I am a professional artist because I have been paid for my art. I guess that's the definition of a professional artist, but it's not my full-time job. And I'll try to my best to answer this question because I think it can be pretty complex when you get into the nitty-gritty. So take anything I say with a grain of salt, and here are a list of many artists that I look up to, and they make videos on YouTube that I would recommend, especially the videos where they draw in real time. You can learn a lot from those. So let's get into it. The advice, practice, is good and true, but sometimes it's kind of vague and you can get lost in it a bit. I personally meander around and scribble and study random things, thinking to myself, when I get to a level that I like, I can then work on this project and be a proper artist. And that is kind of that perfectionist mindset. But then I ended up seeing everything as practice, which is kind of cliche and cringy. But I mean, Eternus, this comic that I'm working on now, is practice for making other comics, for writing a comic, for making character design, for world building, for writing plot, for comic paneling, for inking, for anatomy, for perspective, and all of these things that you need to make a comic and be an artist. And it took me a while to get to this point, like mentally. And I had the idea for this comic about 2 years ago, and currently I'm only on page 14, right? It's a side project that I work on in my free time. I try not to see it as like my magnum opus or whatever. And I also have like 3 more ideas that I want to work on after this. And I'm also kind of working on it, not at the same time, but if I have an idea for a different project, I'll sort of lean more towards that and work on that a little bit more. But this is my main focus. So that's a bit of a ramble. Step 1, see everything as practice. Step 2, stop being so precious and serious with drawing. I know that's easier said than done, but after I finish a page, I try to keep moving, even though there's a million things I could change about past pages. If you look at page 1 and page 2 of Eternus, and you look at the pages that I'm currently on, you know, it's only 14 pages, but I mean, I personally can see an improvement. Step 3, make a shit ton of mistakes, but then figure out how to roll with them or cover them up. White ink and Procreate is my best friend. I cover up so many smudges, stray lines, and off-center text. I'm still working on a way to transfer the page digitally that I like. I don't have a scanner and I can't make high-resolution scans, but I still, make the comic. But anyway, I think my teachers in school always said, push the point of no return to the last possible moment. Like, you can't always change stuff in the drawing until you decide you're finished, which I know contradicts the last statement I made, but honestly, drawing is a fucked up back and forth and balance and arguing with yourself half the time. So that's sort of par for the course. Step 4. Doodling in ink and trying out new tools and experimenting. Okay, so here's some actual advice about practicing. I know it's a long way to get there, but just hear me out. When you quote unquote do actual practice or studying, like gesture drawing, line of action, making boxes and shapes, blah blah blah, use an ink dip pen or a brush and ink or whatever you want to ink with. Try to practice moving your whole arm. Get a big cheap sketchbook from Walmart or something and try to draw as big as you possibly can with your whole arm. Keep the energy up and be as loose as possible. Try to make confident and fast lines. Use this to experiment with new tools and processes, or you can be me and do that directly on a comic book page you're making, whatever seems more fun to you. I also like making random lines or 3D shapes. And I have some examples of this in my shitty sketchbook tour. That's another example of trying not to be precious with things. That, it's difficult. But if you can have a place where you can just, slap some ink on a page and really let yourself go, you will see an improvement in what you're doing, and also just an improvement in like your mindset mentally when it comes to drawing, because you won't feel as perfectionist and as like I need to get this right all the time. Having that place is really important. And now voiceover Reagan is going to take a break, and you're going to hear some even more beautiful and eloquent words from past Reagan while she is drawing, just so you can sort of hear how I really take all of this sort of mental advice to heart. It's always super serious, and I'm always super serious about my craft, and I always do every single thing that I make advice about, and I don't make any mistakes whatsoever.
It does not look like a mustache. It's fine. It doesn't look like a mustache. This looks fine. Oh shit, I forgot to make the little guys. Oh. Damn it. Oh, I've already fucked up. That's fine. It doesn't look like he's looking at her. Maybe I'm just upset because it looks like he's staring into nothingness. Shit. Okay, hold on. That's a finger, that's a finger, that's a finger. Okay. Oops.
Here you can see my very fast and very confident lines that I make for this hand, and you can see that I am clearly a master of inking, and I've basically learned everything that I need to. I've learned everything that there is to learn about inking, and I'm the perfect person to teach anybody or give anybody advice about inking specifically, and just art in general. So you're welcome. Beans. Maybe I should stop drawing right now. Oh, God. My finger, like right here, like this kind of guy, hurts. But I wanted to finish it today, but I don't think I can. Jesus Christ. You might be thinking to yourself, hey, that was really bad, and it was.
Oh, that looks bad. Okay. When in doubt, just make a bunch of scribbles. So you can see that, like, this feels a lot better than this because I was really tight here. But with this, I'm like a lot looser and it just feels a lot better. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Using the broom to fly to the window. I showed a camera I placed in the wrong place. Yeah, now this is looking much better. But I've just been asking myself, why do I keep using the window blocks when I have a good old table and chairs on the porch? So I can sit here and yell at the neighbors. I don't really have any though. I just want to put up these windows.
Fix it in post doesn't just apply to digital stuff. I feel like this is my favorite panel so far.
I also fell off my broom on the side.
Shit!
Here to this tower, if I can reach it. Ha! Ow. Oh yeah, this is looking real fine. Nice. What is nice is that I haven't finished sorting my storage, and I also want to bring over all more. I'm gonna put up those herb drying racks everywhere in the ceiling. Okay, now check out my match. It looks like I didn't wash my hand in a while or something. No, 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 no. Stop opening the door. No, no. No, 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 no. I'm so happy about this. But now I have to take some stuff out of the jars again because I need to make that broom brush. Durability, which is very necessary for my long travels. But we also need a fire under the monsters. Be gone, losers. There's a cloud on my face. You can also make it so the clouds just form as soul sage. But the sage doesn't last forever, so I'm going to use this time wisely and make a little path in front of my house. So what I'm going to do is have so much. So let's add tons of cottagecore elements to this world. Of course, every time I have a beautiful moment, it starts raining. I could cry. And this also gonna have a bunch of little grass patches.
Oh my god.
This area beautiful.
Oh, I completely fucked up the joints here. That's fine. I made a tangent line, but that's fine.
Area where we can just chill and relax after a hard day doing witchcraft and fire gathering system. And it's working really well for the potatoes.
Do you ever just like add details to a thing and you're like, yes, this makes it, this changes it, this elevates the game, and then you zoom out and then you're like, I can't even fucking see it. What if I completely draw another head and then scan that in and then do a little Photoshop magic?
So when mom's birthday so far is ugly. And let's already make a start. No, no, no. That greedy bird just ate all my seeds. But I'm just gonna appreciate the two birds that do love me and want to be my friend, and I'm just gonna take them home. And I think we also need. Imagine if I would have.
Okay, he does look a little bit crazy here, but that's the point. This is what we're going for. We're going for a Tumblr sexy man. I can fix him. The under eye bags really sells the Tumblr sexy man. Okay, come here.
I'm too stupid for this, but I think now I've finally figured it out. Those birds are back to doing their job over there, and I got the new birds entirely taking over this field. One is harvesting and the other is gathering. Good birds. And those birds need names too, but I've used up all my name tags, and I'm not very keen on hunting for name tags in dungeons and mine shafts. I just flew to the tree. Let's go to the bit here.
Those ears look fine.
Wait, but I am Emerald.
I'm bad at drawing ears too. I'm bad at drawing a lot of things.
Just unlock the expert trade. Name tags, just that I don't have any more emeralds. I knew that was the crows to harvest the crows.
Wait a minute.
Very smart. First, on the next day.
It's tilted.
So, this is the fabled Tilted Towers.
So this would be all the way down here.
To look at.
That's what's
Just have a home.
going
That's the
on.
best home in this entire world.
Don't even look at this.
Stands. A stand to hold your broom when not in use. I think that would be really cool to make a little home for the broom. I think we have a willow broom out of
Don't
willow
even
wood,
look at this.
So we gotta make, and I made a whole bunch of sage. This will definitely last for the rest of the video. And while the sage dries, I'm already gonna get stupid. Many days ago I made a woodcutter, and I never tested if it works with all the wood. Oh my gosh, I want to add full glass blocks like this, which is gonna be like some weird organic build connected with modern glass stuff. It's weird, but let's make it work. And right now this still looks super weird, so we gotta cover it with more grassy stuff. But also I just realized all the grass and leaves look like this here, so this is I'm about to starve because I'm out of food. I just have lots of go. And we should put the enchanting table in there. What is up there is so ugly right now, Mr. Bones. You cannot look at that. It's so gross. And I think one more slaying and then we have enough XP. Let's also make an axe. And now we're already out of XP levels. So back to the Skelly farm it is. And on day 49 I was breezing through the caves, picking up ores left and right, being really fast with my efficiency 4 pickaxe. And I just got a big brain idea. I forgot you can turn those into those bean blocks. And then it saves so much inventory resources in my inventory.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much am I gonna fuck this up? And then that doesn't need, because we're gonna just put it right there. That looks so much better, doesn't it? And it should... Hold on. Hold on, nobody breathe. Nobody breathe the wrong way. Hold on. Hold on.
And I didn't even realize that, so I'm definitely not gonna do that.
Oh.
And now we have the mailbox of Sherlock Bones, the Black Wall. There's still some work to be done.
That looks okay. It's different types of paper, so it looks, hold on. Okay, okay.
So now that you can see how cool and calm and collected and super serious I am about me and my art while I'm making it, here are the next sort of steps or whatever. And step 5 is don't push yourself. I do not draw every day. I have or had tendonitis in my arm, and I have inflammation in my thumb and wrists and fingers. I constantly have to take breaks and stretch and exercise and ice my arm and hand. I don't really draw for more than 20 or 30 minutes at a time before I have to take a break. If any part of your body is starting to feel stiff, get up, do the hot to go dance and drink some water. But really, I recommend the book Draw Stronger by by Creota Wilberg. I totally pronounced that right. And honestly, I really do wish that I had found it sooner. It's a really good book, and even if you do not feel pain currently, when you draw or even crochet or craft or anything like that, I would still really, really recommend this book, because if you work with your hands for an extended period of time, and I'm talking about years, you will start feeling pain eventually. So do it now until later when you feel that pain retroactively. And the 6th step is just sort of draw stuff that you like that's fun. Because I can only draw currently for a short amount of time before needing a break, and I can usually only have a drawing session once a week at most, I am very selective about what I want to draw, and it's mostly, this comic. So, like previously, this comic is my practice. This comic is me experimenting. This, comic is just me drawing and trying to have fun. And I also try to do smaller doodles. I do a comic journal or diary, which I would recommend. You can find a bunch of videos about it on YouTube, and I also recommend Carrie Fisher's book, Just the Good Bits. And anyway, don't waste your time drawing stuff you don't like to. I know that studying the boxes, the figure drawing is important, but if you only have an hour a week to draw, don't make yourself feel like it's work. Don't make yourself, if you have very little precious time, draw something that you genuinely want to draw. And if that is inking and learning how to ink better, and inking is fun for you, then practice that. Do some fun drawings of fan art of just in straight ink, and learning how to do that, and you'll get better. Honestly, just doing stuff in straight ink without erasing can really help the quality of line work. Okay, now going back to the actual question instead of just rambling, how do I keep my hands so steady? I don't know. I don't really keep it steady. It's more about the fast, confident lines, the making sort of those big movements with your like elbow and your whole arm, as well as your workspace, having a good workspace, having a place where you have a lot of room, a place where you feel comfortable. I have one of those like tilted tabletop easels I got from Blix Art. Those are really good. Having a comfortable chair, all of that stuff also helps your art. If you want to also practice anatomy or expressions or anything like that, doing it in the tool that you also want to get better at, whether that is painting or inking or anything like that, doing those studies directly in that medium you want to get better at. I know for like my figure painting classes, we would do a lot of gesture drawings in paint, right? So doing that will also help you get better. Doing sketches in like paint is the way that you get better at using paint and using that tool. And I think the same thing also applies to ink. I know that one of the artists that I mentioned previously often talks about like inking. It's not just tracing the sketch, it is a sort of painting in its own way. You can change and mix up it's always evolving. You can make a lot of necessary changes during the inking phase as well. And this is coming from a person who is an inker, right? They are handed a sketch from the sketch artist of a official comic book, and then they are the one who inks it. And so then you can also apply that to your own process as well, even if you are the artist from start to finish. Did I answer the question? I'm not sure if I answered the question, but I hope that whatever I said helps. And that's pretty much it. Have fun drawing. Okay, bye-bye.